I've had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here is my take. I have been using it as a small, move-around-the-house projector for nights when I just want something bigger than a tablet, without turning my living room into a permanent setup. If you are someone who wants a simple projector you can pick up, put down, and start watching fast, that is the lane this fits into. If you want something for a bright room in the middle of the day with the curtains wide open, this is not really that kind of projector. The reason I was interested in this one is pretty simple. It has Google Television built in, so I can use it like a stand-alone streaming device. I did not want to deal with extra boxes, extra cables, and extra remotes every time I moved rooms. With this, I can plug it in, connect to my Wi-Fi, sign in, and I am basically where I would be on a normal living room streaming setup. In person, it looks clean and low-key. It is small enough that it does not dominate a table, and it is easy to tuck onto a shelf when I am not using it. The finish on mine is a matte black, and it does not pick up fingerprints the way glossy plastic does. It is mostly plastic, and it feels like plastic when you tap it, but it does not feel flimsy. It feels like something made to be carried around without me babying it. I also like the little stand underneath because I actually use it. In my living room, I keep it slightly angled up to hit a blank section of wall. In my bedroom, I angle it higher, and sometimes I throw a video up on the ceiling. That is not something I do every day, but it is one of those things that makes me use the projector more often because it is easy. Setup was straightforward. I plugged it in, connected it to Wi-Fi, and went through the Google Television login. The interface is familiar if you have used a Chromecast-style device or an Android television. The important part for me is that it stays simple in daily use. I pick up the remote, hit power, and I am right back where I left off. I am not digging through inputs, and I am not trying to remember which device I used last time. Streaming apps are what I use most on this, and day to day it has been smooth. I use YouTube a lot, and it launches quickly and stays stable. Netflix has been fine for me as well. I did run into one annoying thing where a couple of services did not behave exactly the way I expected. On one app, I ended up using a browser option instead of a dedicated app experience. It worked, but it felt like an extra step, and it is not as couch-friendly as a normal app. That is not a deal breaker for me, but it is the kind of thing I would rather know before buying. One of the first things I tested was how forgiving it is when I do not place it perfectly. In my house, I am not measuring angles. I set it on a coffee table, or a dresser, or a small tripod. The autofocus and keystone correction are the features I end up appreciating the most because they save me time. Most of the time, after I move it, it takes a few seconds and the image snaps back into focus and straightens out. It is not perfect every single time. When I project at a weird angle, especially from the side, I sometimes have to do a quick manual adjustment to make the edges look right. But for normal use, it gets me close enough that I am watching content instead of fiddling with settings. For image quality, what I notice in real use is that it looks like proper full high definition. Text in menus is readable, and faces do not look soft or smeared. I have watched a mix of animated shows and regular movies, and the colors look natural to me, not overly blue or overly warm out of the box. Motion has been fine for streaming. I am not using this as a competitive gaming display, but I did connect a console just to see what it feels like. It is playable for casual stuff. If you are sensitive to lag and you only play fast reaction games, I would test that carefully in your own setup. Brightness is the main limiter, like it is with most small projectors. The rating is 500 ANSI lumens, and in my living room that translates to this. At night, or with the curtains closed, it looks good, and it is easy to get pulled into a movie. With lamps on, it is still watchable, but the image looks more washed out, especially in darker scenes. In the afternoon with sunlight coming in, it is not the vibe. It becomes more like a background screen unless you can seriously dim the room. For me, that is fine because most of my projector watching is at night anyway. Sound was the part I was most skeptical about, and it ended up being better than I expected. I do not like dealing with external speakers when I am moving a projector between rooms, so I really wanted the built-in speakers to be usable. The Boom Mini has 20-watt speakers, and it supports Dolby audio. In practice, I hear clear dialogue, and it gets loud enough to fill my living room at a comfortable level. Bass is present, not subwoofer level, but it is there. At higher volume, it stays mostly clean. I still prefer headphones late at night, and I connected Bluetooth headphones with no drama. I also tried using it as a Bluetooth speaker just out of curiosity, and it worked, although I mainly see that as a bonus rather than a reason to buy it. Fan noise matters to me because some small projectors sound like a hair dryer in quiet scenes. This one has been pretty tame in my use. It is not silent, but it blends into the room after a few minutes. When I am watching something with a quiet soundtrack, I can notice it if I listen for it, but it has not pulled me out of a movie. Connectivity has covered my needs. I have used casting from my phone when friends come over and want to throw up a video or photos. It connects quickly as long as everything is on the same Wi-Fi. I also used a laptop for a couple of work-related videos, and that was simple. On the back, you have a high-definition multimedia interface port and a universal serial bus port, so I can plug in a console, a streaming stick if I ever wanted to, or a flash drive. I like having those options even though most of my viewing is through Google Television. In terms of performance, I have not had major slowdowns. The projector has 2 gigabytes of random access memory and 16 gigabytes of storage, and for what I do, that has been enough. I install the apps I actually use, and I do not try to load it up with everything. Menus have been responsive, and I have not had random crashes. After living with it, here is where I land. I think the Boom Mini makes sense for someone like me who wants a compact projector for casual home use, especially at night, and who wants streaming built in without extra devices. It works well for moving between rooms, for a quick movie night, and even for an occasional outdoor setup if you can control the lighting. The limitations are the ones you would expect. You need a dim room for the best picture, and the smart app situation can be slightly uneven depending on what services you rely on. The build is plastic, but it feels solid enough for normal handling. If your expectations match what a small projector can realistically do, it is an easy device to live with. It gets out of the way and lets me watch stuff without a complicated setup, and that is the main reason I keep reaching for it. I will post full information about the Boom Mini Google TV Smart Projector in the comments section. See you in the following videos.